All right, so today we're doing something brand new and unheard of. This is basically my little my phone here, and I have a screen recorder app on it, and we've seen my face, which is always very beautiful, I know, but we don't get to see it today because it's already too dark, and I kind of just wanted to talk about something. And hey, a website stuff is actually a pretty good backdrop because I want to talk about it. Right, so nofap, it's always been very weird to me. People not talking about jerking off. It's just the weirdest thing. And apparently there's this thing called No Nut November, because there's a bit of assonance and rhyming and alliteration or whatever you call it. And it's like, you know what? I'm not that young anymore. I used to get off a lot more than I used to. I was never promiscuous sexual with other people, but it's like, well, my dick works just fine. And yeah, okay. So I want to do Yes Fap November. I want to have a challenge where every day I pledge to jerk off, because it's kind of cringy when people are like, I'm not jerking off. It's like, okay, that's weird. Now, I did want to look at some of the top posts here, and we'll take a look at the tabs that I've pre-selected. Now, I know the guy who started NoFab was basically saying that he was jerking off like a dozen times a day, and it was like chafing, and it was physically uncomfortable. And I'm thinking, like, that's probably what, OCD or something. It's like somebody who keeps drinking even past the point of any sort of pleasure, and it's just nothing but problems for that person. It's like, well, if that's you, okay, fine. But I've always seen this just like the people who don't want anyone to drink or don't want any amount of drinking. By the way, I don't drink anymore. I just cannot do it. I don't like it at all. So that's fine, but I'm not going to bark at people to not drink, that sort of thing. So that's kind of what I found weird, is a lot of claims about, let's take a look at it. So, pornography/masturbation is the mentally deadliest addiction. I'm 14 now, so this guy's middle school, high school, and he said here, let's see, I became really depressed, especially during quarantine. Well, maybe that's part of the problem, and he's saying, now he's 14, it was just kind of creepy we're talking about it, but that's fine. This is the internet. I'd masturbate every day more than once usually. I stopped talking to my friends. I stopped talking to my family. I stopped trying in school. I became depressed. Now, part of it, again, might be, the quarantine. You're also 14, so to sort of pathologize that. Here we go, up here. And that's what was ever on my mind. Sex, girls, sex, porn, girls. Well, again, I hate to break it to you people, but that's called puberty, right? So what exactly you do with that, it's just the weirdest thing to pathologize, kind of budding, at least sexual desires. Again, you don't have to have sex, you don't have to, but it's just the weirdest sort of phraseology that I've always seen as it's a disease, it's a pathology, it's an addiction. I don't know. I mean, it's also a sex drive, right? So let's see. We attack at midnight. Well, this is a kind of cringe. At midnight, the biggest battle of the year begins. 30 days of not master. See, it's weird, because in common conversation, you can't say, well, I just jerked off yesterday. It was so good. And I don't want to be that guy either. I don't want to make this too pervy. But precisely because there's an element of, oh yeah, I'm so hard for not being hard. There's this element of just the opposite you can't talk about, but when you put the word not next to it, apparently it just becomes perfectly normal to make this into even a virtue. It's really, really weird, Let's see here. Men who are not slaves of their sexual... Well, again, slaves, I don't know. Again, you're doing this 10, 20 times a day. Okay, I guess that's a problem. But, what about someone who has 1 or 2 wanks a week or whatever it used to be? It used to be more. My dick still works fine. Okay, it's working just fine. But I kind of want to see. I jerk off every day. And again, look at who's making me do this. It is these cringy no-fap people who are like, oh, I'm not masturbating every day. Oh, I'm checking in. Accountability. It's like, yeah, okay. Let's see at the age of 35 if I'm able to, do this every day. Because that's the other thing, is I've never had those... I've never had that. I've never had the, compulsion where it's like, this is just unpleasurable. Oh, I gotta keep doing it. Ugh. It's like, that's never been me, right? And is there some kind of happy medium there where, it's like, okay, you're sexually still capable of you have a functioning sex system, but you don't want to be promiscuous either, because that's the other side of it, you know? How many people end up making bad sexual decisions with people precisely because they're horny? What kind of good decisions can you make then? Right? I remember I don't know what, this was many, many years ago. I was really busy. I was really just preoccupied with things, and I just didn't, I just kind of forgot about, you know, jerking off and everything, and I just realized I was just so agitated. I was like, what the fuck is going on here, right? And then I realized, oh, I hadn't jerked, and it was just perfectly fine after that, and it's like, okay, I mean, again, not 10 times a day, again, maybe not the whole week, that sort of thing. But what are you supposed to do? And why is it a pathology? Why? Again, the founder of NoFap said, all right, I'll do, he said he was jerking off 20 times a day or 10 times. It was compulsive. Okay, but what's the difference? There's a difference between 10 times a day and 3 times a week, right? It's like if somebody likes to drink 3 times a week, maybe on the weekend, and it's a glass of wine, like, is that the same thing as 3 bottles of wine every day? I don't know. So I've just seen way too much of that here, where it's just, there does not seem to be any differentiation there, and it's gotten obnoxious because I try to follow an eclectic mix of people on Twitter and social media, and it just always rubs me the wrong way. Shall we have it that way? That people just, again, don't have a kind of middle ground there. It's not very nuanced, and even if you were to bring up, there might be a middle ground. Oh, you're a coomer and all this. It's like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. So let's see. Slave stuff. Porn is endless. Your life is not. Think about it. 60, 70 years you'll be gone. I don't know. It's you'll be dead. So I don't know. I don't even get this. No Nut Survival Guide. I think this is the last one, hopefully. This is a guide I made back in the day about a month before I hit 90 days of NoFap and stopped counting. With November, I am back at NoFap and I'm ready for an entirely clean year. I hope my guide helps you. So here's my method. Regulate your thought stream. So that's the other part. It's like the whole point of it is I'm horny. I have to regulate. It's like, well, but when I do jerk off, it's not like I have to think about it for the rest of the... That's the whole point. That's the whole, you know, let's not do it 20 times a day, but if you're no longer horny, that's precisely why I don't have to think about it, right? Drag your mind elsewhere. Never, under no circumstances, never peak. So I guess don't look up the stuff. Okay. So I don't understand that. If you add up the amount of time that you're supposed to be regulating, not thinking about sex, and essentially whipping yourself like some masochist, how much time are you spending on that versus, okay, let's just get it over with and whatever, right? So I guess that's it, you know. Part of it is I don't think I'm going to be detailing every single day of the week, okay? I'm not going to be too lewd about it. But again, if people can be lewd about, I'm not jerking off, oh, it was so hard, and okay, fine, then I get to do whatever, right? I don't want to make too big of a deal out of it, but you know what? I will. I'm not going to do it every day. Like, I'm not going to give a detailed report. I might bring it up, and again, we talk about adult topics here anyways. The whole Guerrero thing is that. And that's it. So aren't you glad you subscribed to this channel? You can hear somebody talking about how their daily masturbation is going. It's going to be so much. Again, not every day. Don't worry about it. But, you know, it might come up. So that's your fair warning.